Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. My name's Nolene Hammond-Jones. Today I'm going to be running the session around employability, coming to the UK and making the most of your international study to boost your future job prospects. So I will go through through a number of slides today. If you do have any questions throughout the session, do post them in the questions area. Myself and my colleagues Alison and Helen will be answering those questions as we go through today's session. We're looking at about an hour, but we might go over that a little bit depending on the number of questions that we do get in today. So if you do have any specific questions about maybe personal visa issues or about a specific course, then we will direct you to the right person to talk to. Just to let everybody know, I'm not an immigration lawyer, so I'm not a visa specialist, and I can't give specific visa advice today. I can give you an overall view of the visa requirements for working in the UK, but I can't give you specific advice. So just be mindful of that when you are asking your questions. So welcome everybody, and thank you so much for attending today's session. We're going to have a number of things that we're going to talk about today, but starting off with the benefits of international study. So I get asked this quite a lot: why should we study internationally? There's a number of reasons why you can do a degree overseas, and I have done that myself. But it is generally around developing what we call global exposure and a global mindset. But you must ensure it's a quality degree, and the university or institution that you choose has a good international reputation. And you can find that in a number of different rankings worldwide and online sources. So before you make your decision, do your research on the institutions that you're interested in, and talk to alumni of those institutions to get a feel for the organization. When you get an international qualification, it helps you to develop new approaches to learning and also developing your communication skills in terms of your language fluency, confidence to communicate in different languages, using different body language as well, depending on the culture that you're speaking to or the culture that you're learning in, and developing strong thinking skills, how to think, not just what to think, which a lot of employers do value. Global exposure in terms of cultural awareness and open-mindedness. In Manchester alone, over 200 languages are spoken. And it's not just about integrating with the British culture and the British students here on campus, but all the other students from all over the world, and really developing an international mindset. And through these various different international groups, including British students, UK students, you will develop an international business and working experience through group work, but also through volunteering here on campus, volunteering with various different organisations across Manchester and the Northwest, and work experience and internships. You will develop an extensive global network. We have over 140,000 alumni at Manchester, currently on LinkedIn alone, and many, many more who are not currently on LinkedIn. So you can imagine just the vastness of alumni and global networks you will have access to. And in addition to all these great benefits of international study, you will develop independence, motivation, and adaptability to change. Moving on to the next slide. So we have a framework that we work to here at Manchester, exploring what's on offer, exploring the experiences that you can take part in, exploring your options and experiencing those, taking part again in events, societies, work experience, internship, placements if you're doing a degree with a placement year, connecting with a vast international global alumni network, as well as with your peers from your peer group, your year group within your degree, as well as with recruiters and employers from all over the world. Communicating with these individuals and building the skills on what do I say to an employer when I first approach them? How do I start a conversation at a networking or connecting event? How can I start a conversation at a conference? How can I make an impact, that first really positive impact with a recruiter and employer? How can I get a mentor to get a better understanding of a particular labour market or a career that I have in mind? But then also to develop skills to reflect on your experiences, reflecting on your skills and everything that you've done to date, and developing what we call resilience or perseverance. So if plan A doesn't work out, being able to develop a plan B and understanding that it's okay to fail, it's learning from those failures and learning from those mistakes and taking the positives from them, so that when you next approach an employer or apply for a job, that you've learned from the previous experience. And we help you develop these skills throughout your time at Manchester in various different means, through workshops, webinars, events in schools. We have alumni events as well throughout campus, depending on the sector, to give you as much exposure and opportunities to develop these skills as we can. Global exposure and experience, there's various different ways that you can get this, and as I said before, through societies. We have a number of societies across campus, country-specific societies, region-specific, if you're interested in music or debating or sports. So there's plenty of sports clubs and societies that you can join as well. And in addition to all these, for those of you that might be looking to go to Manchester Business School, for instance, there are a number of sector-specific clubs that you can join as well. So if you're interested in consulting, there's the Consulting Club. If you're interested in finance and banking, there's the Finance and Banking Club. And we do have similar sector-specific clubs available across the campus. So again, increasing your exposure to various different alumni who will be attending events through these clubs and societies, but also building up your knowledge and skills in these areas. We have University College, there's a number of programs that you can take part in. Leadership program, again, this is developing your leadership skills. It's a program that you can join through the university, as well as numerous. We have over 1,000 opportunities through our jobs database that you can look at and apply to, work experience and internships included. You can build on those communication skills by perfecting your language skills and adapting your style, understanding how to communicate, not just the verbal areas of communication, but how to effectively and confidently communicate with employers, academics, and your peers. We have, as I said, plenty of events on campus where you can build up your alumni connections through the global alumni networks. We have online communities, the Indian Manchester Graduate Network, the Pakistan Manchester Graduate Network, the International Graduate Network, and the China and Indian International Graduate Networks. So there's plenty of online opportunities for you to join communities. We also have the Manchester Gold Programme, and this enables you as an international student to either look at developing a mentoring relationship with a skilled professional back in your home country, or a skilled professional in the UK, depending on what your decision is regards to your career and where you're going to start your career. We have numerous employers on campus. For instance, those of you from China, we have a China Fair coming up in March 2016, and that will feature over 30 employers interested in hiring Chinese students back to China. We'll have a panel in October, again, enabling international students to have access to employers. We have several Malaysian, Eastern Asian companies coming to hire our students, and as well as opportunities across Europe and Africa. We have a Pakistan fair that happens every 2 years through the British Council, and plenty of opportunities as well for our Indian students. So you will have numerous opportunities to build up your knowledge on employers, build up your contacts within organisations that you're interested in working for, and also to apply to a number of opportunities. As we said, over 500 a month are posted through our database by employers directly. You can look and explore your career options. We give you numerous different tools and workshops to be able to develop these skills and communication tools that you need to understand the UK job market, as well as overseas job markets. We get experienced professionals in to talk about other areas in the world that you might be interested in working in. For instance, we recently had a professional talk to us about the Pakistan labour market for a number of Pakistan students who were interested in going back home when they finished their studies. So we do get a number of different areas in the world covered through our webinars and on campus through events. We have over 500 employers on campus, but also I think in addition to just giving you and putting you in front of employers, we help you build your strengths and understand those strengths and develop them while you're here. So engaging with the career service from your first year is imperative, really. It's not all about getting a job. Concentrate on your studies for the year or 2 years of your PhD for a number of years. It's not really about developing those skills in your final few months or final few weeks. It's about developing those skills over a long period of time so that by the time you are in a position to apply for a job or to interview, you have a strong understanding of how to address an employer, how to perform in an interview, and what the employer is looking for. So we do this through reflection. What are you learning and how are you developing? These are questions we ask continually. And what do I have to offer an employer? What differentiates me from other students, other graduates? And this is a question we get asked quite a lot. And in terms of international students, you have international experience, specialist knowledge that other students may not have. So while you're here, it's understanding the UK labour market, but also keeping up to date with your home labour market as well. And how can I market myself appropriately? And we have a number of different ways we can do that. Through our Atrium team in University Place, we have a careers library resource there, as well as numerous appointments that you can have with career consultants with various specialties, and our applications and advisor team. So we have numerous people on campus that can help you to market yourself appropriately based on the skills that you want to show to a potential employer. So developing a global mindset, and this is something that we hear from recruiters worldwide, not just the UK, but overseas as well. For instance, there was a survey recently done where 350 employers in 2012 across 9 countries stated that a global mindset is a key consideration when they are recruiting. Recently, I was at a conference at BDO, Shell and PwC. They're looking for graduates to be able to demonstrate that they can work across a variety of different cultures within diverse teams and share their international knowledge and expertise with others within their organization so that the organization can benefit. More organizations with the ease of the internet and travel and more airline routes opening up are looking to develop more global connections, networks and business overseas. So using your international knowledge, languages and experience and skills can leverage you above other candidates for the roles. 50% of recruiters through the AGR survey really want a global mindset. They feel that you can build trust and respect and communicate messages internationally. And these global mindset quotes and various other stats were stressed through Business Week and the Financial Times. They believe that a global mindset helps you to develop an openness and awareness of diversity across cultures and markets. So you can see here Charlie Reeve, a graduate recruiter, it's the difference between an average candidate and a good candidate. And employers really want global qualities. So this again is something that you can leverage when applying for roles. The global job market needs a personalized approach. So this is something that we help you again through workshops and various different mediums to be able to help you develop a knowledge of the global job markets, depending on the sector and the roles that you're interested in. An opportunity to market what you have on offer, understand what skills you have and understand how best to market those skills, seek a range of qualities and experiences. So when you come to Manchester, it's not all about the academics. It's equally as important who you know and the experiences you have. If you decide to come to Manchester and you want to go back home when you finished your studies, employers are going to want to know why Manchester, why the UK to do your overseas education. And getting that international experience while you're here through part-time work or through volunteering through various different departments or charity work can help you to really put a strong answer together for those employers. And equally, if you want to stay in the UK, employers are going to want to know why you want to stay in the UK. And again, making the most of your experience while you're here. Make sure that it's not just the qualifications that you're stressing on applications, that it is that, you know, the soft skills that you're developing whilst doing work experience or part-time work here. Demonstrate your unique selling points, your languages, your global knowledge, and evidence as much of it as you can. When we talk to students around evidencing internships and placements, I might see one bullet point underneath an internship with PwC, which says, I just answered telephones. It's really thinking about that placement, whether it was a week or 3 months. Really, what did you do? Think about your day-to-day tasks and activities. Write it all down, and then from that, pick out key points that you feel would demonstrate your skills to an employer. Motivation, why you want the job. A common mistake most graduates make at interview is they talk about what the company's giving them when they're asked, why do you want to work for us, or why do you want this job? And they start off with, well, you're offering me a graduate program, you're offering me a great training scheme, I'm getting this, I'm getting that, this is what you're giving me. They know what they're giving you. What they don't know is what you're giving them, and that's why they've asked that question. They want to know, what are you bringing to the organization? Why should we choose you? And again, having gone and engaged with the career service from the start, you will develop a real insight into what you will have to offer these employers. But the earlier you engage with us, the better understanding you will have of yourself. Develop a commercial awareness. Again, this is something key employers are getting back to us that graduates are not demonstrating commercial awareness. And what commercial awareness means is understanding who they're applying for. So the company, who are the company? What are the company values? What is the company culture? What projects are the company working on? Who are their competitors? So a real understanding of the company, and they're not demonstrating that in interview, in assessment centres or group exercises. So the first thing you should do before you apply to any organization is list your target companies and then research them. As you would any project or assignment, you need to do your research. And understand the selection process. And if it's unclear, contact people within the organizations. Ask questions. Don't be afraid to get as much information as you can about the selection process. So piecing it all together. Graduate job, academic excellence, greater outlook, longer-term career potential. These are all things that you need to piece together through the career service. This is what we aim for you to achieve by the end of your studies. So a great job, academic excellence, a greater outlook on the world, on the job market, on the labour market, on a particular sector, and building up key relationships and knowledge for that longer term career potential. That's what we aim for you to have by the time you leave us. And again, this is accomplished through insight courses, life experiences, spring weeks in university. It's very easy to come to an overseas university and quickly immerse yourself in your own culture. And I know this because I've done it myself. I'm originally from the Republic of Ireland. I came to university in the UK. I lived in a house with other Irish people. I played Irish sports. I worked in an Irish pub because it felt comfortable. These people understood me. They understood my culture. Did I make the most of my university experience? No, I didn't. When I went back to do my master's, I certainly did. I recognized that I didn't make the most of my time. I didn't integrate. I didn't develop those relationships. So making sure that you make the most of your time here. Whether it be a year, 3 years, 4 years, time will fly by very quickly. So if you can engage, not just in if you're from China, the Chinese society, but also engaging in maybe the debating society, or doing work experience or volunteering with the sports department. You don't have to be sporty to volunteer with the sports department. They're looking for people who are good at marketing to help market events or facilitate events, or to help facilitate the running of an event. So again, it's making the most of the life experiences. If you're doing a year placement or a summer internship, or taking part in a series of university experiences, there's so much on offer here at this university. We are a large organisation. We have a lot of events and a lot of activities on. It's taking advantage of these. Experience of work, building up your skills portfolio, developing that maturity and global mindset that companies really seek, understanding what is professionalism, how to act. We hold courses about for graduates to understand what's going to be expected in the first 100 days of your new job, to give you a real understanding of how to conduct yourself. Knowing your options, what are your options going forward? And again, this is what it all leads to, the end goal of a job, good results, great outlook, and a long-term career. Can I get experience in the UK, and what about visas? And again, this is something I'm asked quite often, and the question isn't really, can I get experience in the UK and what visa do I need? It's, why do you want to get experience in the UK? What is your motivation? What is your driver behind getting this experience? Is it because you just want to get a little bit of experience at the start of your career? Or is it that you feel an international experience is vital to your long-term career prospects? So understand what it is that you want and why you want to have this experience. And then depending on what your answer is, there are a number of different options. So for instance, during your study, there's no visa needed to be able to do an internship or a placement. Again, you're not restricted to employers on the sponsor register. The sponsor register is a register of employers in the UK, which is on the UK Border Agency website. This list of employers is the list that you would go to when applying for jobs. They are the ones who can sponsor your visa. If you come to the UK to do a degree or a master's or a PhD, the University of Manchester would be your sponsor for Tier 4 if you came to us. If you went to another organisation, they would be your sponsor. So when you're finished your studies and you're going on to the world of work and you want a permanent job in the UK, the employer then becomes your sponsor. So the number of employers on the sponsor register at the moment is over 29,000. So there's 29,000 UK employers who are happy to sponsor a Tier 2 visa. But during your studies, none of this applies. So you can apply for any internship or any placement, year placement with as part of your program, as long as it's built into your program, with an employer that doesn't have to be, they don't have to be on the sponsor register, and there's no minimum salary. So it's quite open to you developing that experience with organizations. After study, it's a little bit more tricky. So for those of you who just want to have a little bit experience at the start of your career, you can do this by a Tier 5 visa. So this has been brought in by the UK government. It's an option for students to do a 12-month internship experience post-study. So when you've finished your study, so if you're doing a master's and you finish in September 2016, you can start via Tier 5 an internship at the end of your visa, which will probably run out in January 2017. So you can do up to 12 months with an employer. Again, any employer, any salary, because the sponsor is not the employer for Tier 5. The sponsor is an agency. These agencies, for Chinese students, you have the International Student Internship Scheme. They help Chinese students and Chinese-speaking students in terms of achieving a Tier 5, and they help you to navigate the labour market and give you hints and tips. If you do want to get an internship, it's still your responsibility to source this internship, but these organisations become your sponsor. For everybody else who doesn't speak Chinese or is not Chinese, you have the option to go through BUNAC, that's B-U-N-A-C, or you have GTI, that's GTI, or there is Isaac as well. You can find this information on the Manchester Careers international pages under Working After Study. If you have a look and Google Manchester Careers, you will see our website comes up, and you can look more into the various different visa options. If you want to stay in the UK for more than a year, you will need visa sponsorship. You will need to apply to employers who are on the sponsor register. There is a minimum salary requirement for the roles, and generally it is mostly larger organizations who offer graduate programs. The problem with that is there is stiff competition, so it is much harder to get what we call a tier 2, but there is an opportunity for you there to apply to various different organizations, and it is possible. We have international students that do stay on in the UK and achieve a tier 2 sponsorship. But if you want to do this, you need to engage again with us as soon as possible and apply from day one. Most of these graduate training programs start in September, October recruiting. So even before you've decided, what career path you might be taking with your master's or your postgraduate study, they will be recruiting on these programs. So what are my chances of UK experience? So experience during study is very, very common, and we really encourage this. Again, it's maximising your experience in the UK. So for internships, build your experience in the first year onwards and focus on a good application. If you want to stay in the UK after you study, it's possible, but you need to be realistic. Understand what the sectors are, what jobs are in the sectors, and what the minimum salaries are. If you familiarise yourself with the visa process, you're going to maximize your chances, because you'll understand the process by which it takes to for an employer to sponsor a tier 2. If you're educated, you can then educate employers, and not all employers on the sponsor register will sponsor graduates. Some of them are only on there to hire experienced individuals. So, do your research early, know who your target companies are, know if they hire international graduates, and send in a really good, strong application. So just to give you an idea of the different UK employers of Manchester International Graduates, there are some global names there: Walmart, we have Eli Lilly, we have Deutsche Bank, Centrica, AXA, JP Morgan, GlaxoSmithKline, various different international organizations, but there are probably some lesser known ones on there as well. So there are a number of international and national employers of international students. But again, you need to start doing your research early. Know who's in your area, know who's hiring, and talk to people within the organizations as well. If you can build up relationships with these people within the organizations, whether they're university alumni, so they've already graduated from the university, or there are people within the organization with similar interests to yourself, build up those relationships and get a really good understanding of the company and the company culture. So what do our graduates say? And again, these are people who are now alumni who've graduated from the University of Manchester and gone on to get quite good jobs. The message generally across most of our graduates that we've spoken to is make use of the career service early. I'm the international career consultant. You've got dedicated people here who can help you really understand what the labour market's like and help you develop those skills. And build up your network early. Get to know people, build relationships, and attend relevant events as well. So if you're looking for a finance career in London, then you need to know what's happening in London. If there are events in London, go to those events. If there are events in Manchester, so conferences, or if one of the larger organisations is holding an open day, then go along. Ask relevant questions, get noticed, and dress for the job that you want. And it's also here, Ankit said, whilst it's important to maintain high scores, it's equally important to participate in activities. There's sports, conferences, societies, and research-related projects. And even if there's something that we're not offering, there's nothing to stop you from doing it yourself. We have students who are learning, developing skills, writing code and doing their own projects as a hobby on the side. And all this adds to your CV, making the most of the time that you're here. So what do we have on offer? International business games and challenges. We have the Global Award through University College. Global Graduates is an opportunity for you to become a global graduate. Research visits, international internships. We have the leadership program I mentioned earlier, the various different networks, language modules. Going global is a country profile. It's a resource that you will have access to, which gives country profiles globally. So you understand the country, the companies that operate there, cost of living, get a real rounded understanding of where else you want to study. There's international societies, volunteering projects, and work experience awards. There's so much going on that the earlier you engage with us and understand, the better opportunities are available to you, because you can really get engaged, you can really get a good understanding how, what do I like, what do I not like. I might have thought my entire life that I really want to work for Google, and you go to a Google event and actually no, the company culture doesn't really sit well with you. So who else out there could offer you an opportunity and inspire you to work for them? So again, engage early. In your first year here with us, whether it's for a year-long master's or you're here for a PhD, be curious, connect with new people, get to know yourself, and learn how to communicate your message to others. You're building your confidence while you're with us. And if you are career focused, there's insight weeks, internships, and relevant volunteering. But you need to stay connected too, and this is through various different online networks. But LinkedIn, 93% of recruiters recruit through LinkedIn now. So you need to have a really strong, robust LinkedIn profile. You need to have a solid online presence that people can, when they look you up, they can see, yep, you're truly motivated for this sector, this career. But you have that international support here at the Career Service. The pages are there for you to look at. These are the web pages for you to have a look and investigate. As well as those web pages, we have Where Do Our Graduates Go?, which is a really interesting web page that gives you an idea of graduates from different regions, what they went on to do back home, but also graduates who stayed in the UK as well. So a little book to get you started. This is the Manchester Careers Guide, which you can download from the Career Service. And have a look and see, what inspires you, what you're really interested in doing. Are there opportunities or careers out there that you might never have considered or thought of? What really is there for you to investigate, taking advantage of that. So I'm going to take some questions now. That's the end of the session. I'm going to go back a page actually. And then leave you there with those web pages that you can look at. If you have any questions, then do post them in the questions area. I will go through as many as I can. Thank you. I will really appreciate if you could send it to me, as I cannot quite follow everything that is being said. Right, so if anything here, if you've missed anything here, remember it's going to be available later on, so we're going to make this available so you can listen back to it and take notes. If you do have any questions or you've not quite heard something, again, just post a question and we can answer that for you. I'm a dentist in Vietnam. I got my degree in Vietnam. I'm going to have a 3-year course, clinical masters at dental school, Manchester University. After graduating this master's degree, may I be able to work as a prosthodontist in the UK, or I need to do some test first, such as ORE for dentists? Thank you very much. DM, you need to contact the dental school. There will be professional qualifications that you need to meet and standards that you need to meet to be able to work in the UK. The dental school will have vast experience dealing with international applicants and students within their courses, so they will know. If you contact the admissions team, in the dental school, they will be able to answer that question for you. If there's a specific qualification that you need to get on top of your graduate qualification, then they will tell you, and they'll send you to the right place to look as well, so that you can do a bit more research on that and prepare before you come. Did partners also can take part in various activities on campus and get support from you? Not really. If you are a University of Manchester student, the facilities here are facilities tailored for the students only. If they're social events through societies and various other activities at the Student Union, maybe, but again, the activities that are based here are just for the students themselves. Are there any companies providing internships, or do we need to find them on our own? There are plenty of companies who post internship opportunities on our website. We also have a Facebook page and LinkedIn pages, as I said, where we post opportunities as well, just to highlight them to you, especially those that are looking to hire international students or graduates. So you will, I mean, the onus is on you. I am not going to give you an internship. I'm not going to give you a placement, but we'll give you the skills to enable you to go and find those on your own, and we'll help you to understand where the best places are to find these internships. So after completing this MA course at university, university could find me some employer. We don't, as I said, Samra, we don't find you an employer. We give you the skills that you need to find employers yourself. We will put events on during the academic year to enable you to get in front of employers, to make a good impression, to ask questions, to engage with them. Sometimes at fairs there's the opportunity to actually apply there and then. So we'll give you plenty of opportunities to get in front of employers and the skills to help you to understand how best to conduct yourself with these employers as well. I would like to improve my skill about teaching. Is there any chance, such as voluntary service or internships at Manchester? There are plenty of opportunities to engage with various different volunteering and internships at Manchester. So again, if you are interested in volunteering, we have a volunteering department that can help. We also have other departments such as the sports department looking for volunteers for various different projects and events. And we also have Careers Link, which is our employer database full of internship and whether they be 1 week or 3 weeks or several months long for you to apply to. And there are various, there's also the SEI, which is an internship program that the university runs, where you can internship within the university. So for instance, here at the Career Service, we have somebody who is our intern for 8 weeks, but various different departments in the university also take on interns during the summer period. So there's an opportunity for you to apply to that as well. Let me just see if there are any more questions. Is it realistic for PhD students to work during study? Garrett, it depends. You might need to develop good time management skills. That might be one of the skills that you need to develop whilst you're here. It depends how research heavy your PhD is going to be. It's certainly possible. If it's volunteering for 2 hours a week, then you can certainly fit it in. If it's a job where it's 20 hours a week, then you might need to reconsider that opportunity. So understand what it is that your PhD in terms of time academically is going to demand from you, prioritize, but also understand that work experience can be quite beneficial in the long term and quite attractive to employers. So again, it's all about understanding what your skills are, what your demands on your time are going to be, and what the academic demands are going to be. Regarding the visa and planning to work after study, how about a student who is sponsored by his or her local government to do their master's and bonded to work with it once they graduate? Can they still apply for Tier 5? Again, this is something you need to ask the immigration lawyer regarding. This is specific visa advice which I can't legally give, unfortunately. Again, it's a conversation you'll need to have with an immigration lawyer or with your government sponsor. There's no reason why you can't get work experience while you're here though, during your study, so working part-time or volunteering. And again, remember, if you're sponsored by your government to go home and work for up to 5 years, it's a very short time, because your career can be anything up to 50, 60 years, depending on your age and how young you are. But your career is a long-term project. So again, even if you're having to go back and you have a job waiting for you when you graduate, engaging with the career service is essential, because the skills that you'll develop while you're here will stay with you long-term throughout your career. And planning your career for the long term is again very, very important. Understanding where am I going to be in 10 years, even 15 years time? What skills gaps do I need to address? What are employers going to expect from me in 5 years? When my sponsorship is up, will I want to stay in my home country or will I want to go abroad? Again, what skills would I need to develop? So you need to understand really long term where your career can go, and you can do that by engaging with the career service as early as possible. What kind of part-time is suitable for international dental or medical students? It's a bit of a, it depends what you want to develop. It really depends what skills you want to develop. Again, it's doing research, talking to medical and dental graduates. What did they do? Do they even have time, depending on how many placements are involved in your coursework? Will you have time to do any additional work experience? If so, what did they do? What skills do you feel that you need to develop your language skills? So maybe volunteering for a couple of hours a week, developing those skills could help. Or is it your interpersonal skills? So, having conversations with people and just developing those interpersonal skills. Again, what would help you? So there's no harm in you engaging with the career service, coming and talking to one of our career consultants, and we can talk through the various different options that you have. Can my dependent spouse accompany me, take advantage of these UOM employability opportunities? Natasha, we don't encourage it. Students pay a lot of money to come to university. As a result of you paying a lot of money, you get certain facilities, events and activities put on. So when somebody who's not paid comes along to these events, it may upset other students who have who've paid a lot of money. So the events and activities and facilities that we have on offer are specifically for our students. But that's not to say that your partner can't get engaged with various other activities across the city. We're a very international city. We have a lot of groups and clubs that meet across the city that are not associated with the university that your partner can get involved in, including events, conferences. So there's a lot going on in this multicultural city that your partner will not feel left out. How we can apply for any internship while we are studying a master's degree. Well, internships can, again, as soon as you finish your master's or you hand in your final dissertation. So if you hand in your final dissertation in September, you still have 4 months where you can potentially do an internship before your visa runs out. So there are opportunities for you to do an internship. But again, prioritize your workload, understand what the limits are on your time, and talk to one of our career consultants to understand the opportunities. UOM has so many schools working with it, so does university. Recommend their graduate students to schools to work in those schools. Samra, I need you to, if you're talking about the University of Manchester works with a number of primary and secondary schools in the area, we do have working relationships and programs where we have students who go in and volunteer with these schools to deliver various different sessions in teaching. This is something you may be able to do. If you are interested in working with children or vulnerable adults, you will need what's called a DBS check, which is a criminal background check. So if you are interested, you're going to have to research this DBS online and bring the relevant documentation with you, because it can take a number of weeks, up to 8 weeks, I think, for this check to be done. So you can be cleared to work with children and vulnerable adults. Will there be subject-specific employers fair for economics and finance job fairs? We will have various different fairs across the schools and the faculties. I'm not sure if there's a specific finance job fair, but I do know there's a law fair. I do know that a lot of the larger fairs that we have a large number of finance and banking recruiters at them, so you're not going to miss out. And again, if you're studying through the business school, they have a lot of employers that come in on campus and deliver recruitment sessions on campus as well as fairs. Thank you for your great speech. Learned a lot. I want to ask that, is it possible for me to book an appointment for MBTI test or job-related psychological measurements? We do have a number of sessions, again, around psychometric tests, MBTI, assessment centres that the larger organizations would run. We have a lot of material on our website to better understand what employers are looking for, how to conduct yourself in these assessments and tests, and also some practice tests as well. So yes, you can come along to either one of our sessions or speak to one of our career consultants here who is qualified to talk to you about MBTI. How is considering in the job market? I mean, I know the prestige of the university, but how is the reputation among job hunters? Juan Carlos Reyes, that's a very good question. We are the most targeted university in the UK by employers, and that's according to the High Flyers 2015 survey, which means we are the number one. Most employers will come to us. We have, as I said, a lot of events. You will have exposure to a lot of employers, and we have great relationships with the large global organizations as well as the smaller boutique organizations in the area. So you will have plenty of opportunities to explore many different opportunities and employers across the UK. Okay. If you're interested in becoming faculty when you complete your PhD, Zainab, then again we have a career consultant here who specialises in working with PhD and PGR students who can give you very good information and consultation around developing an academic career. So you can make an appointment with our career consultant here and they will talk you through the process. Careers Link, Pablo, is it's our database of jobs and events that employers can sign up directly to and post jobs, and you can log in and have access to over 500 jobs a month from various employers from overseas to local employers in Manchester. Okay, I have an experience in global IT company, a software engineer of 2+ years before I joined September 2015. So what are the options available for part-time job and after completing my MS in computer science? So Nesha, again, it depends what you want to do. There is a shortage of software engineers across the world, actually, so you're in a very, very good position if you're looking at continuing to be a software engineer. If you're looking at changing career, again, it's looking at your transferable skills, your experience to date, how we can market you effectively to employers that you're interested in working for. For part-time work, there are plenty of opportunities again to work with various companies across the UK on a part-time basis remotely. It depends what you want to do though. So it would be looking at what jobs are available when you arrive, how best you can use your skills and how that will benefit your CV going forward. Sarah, I'm interested in research or advocacy career in international development and currently accepted in the MSc International Development Programme. Is there specific career support or careers fairs that emphasize third sector? Yes, there is. There's a third sector club that you can join, and there's also a third sector fair that we have on campus, and there's also the global fairs third sector virtual fair online that gives you access to numerous NGOs across the world who are looking to hire graduates from various different programs. So if you're interested in third sector work or international development work, Sarah, this is a great place to come. You've got plenty of opportunities to engage with these companies and organizations. I'm a first-year PhD student at UM and I'm hoping to stay in the UK after my PhD. How can I find out more about the opportunities that will allow me to sharpen my skills and distinguish myself? Can the Careers Office help me with this if I book a private appointment? Monica, as I said, we have a dedicated career consultant who looks after our PhD and PGR students. You can certainly book an appointment with her. She's a PhD herself, so she understands the trials and tribulations of doing a PhD. And you can also attend many events that we have on campus, depending on the career that you're looking to have and how long you want to stay in the UK. What can I do if I want to work as, I answered that one. For PG students whose course is just 1 year, what is the best time of year that you would suggest for doing various volunteering and internship programs or gaining experience? Raoul, if you're coming to the University of Manchester in September, use this summer to get as much work experience as you can before you arrive. Whether it doesn't matter if it's only 2 days or 2 weeks or 8 weeks, it all counts and it's all relevant. So try and get some work before you come to university, and then if you're doing a 1 year's master's, engage with us when you arrive and make sure that you're developing your skills as you go along. In addition to that, I recommend that you try and get an internship or work experience after you hand in your dissertation. But again, it depends how academically or research heavy your master's is. If you can fit in a couple of hours a week work experience during your study time, that could also be beneficial to you. When my program starts in September, when will the careers fairs be organised in the city? The careers fairs start in October. So pretty much as soon as you arrive, you're thrust straight into it. You're put straight in front of employers. So the earlier, as I said, you engage with us when you arrive in September, the better. Because we can help prepare you for fairs, we can help prepare you for engaging with employers and how to present yourself to employers. Okay. I'm going to be a Master of Architecture student this September at UOM, which is the ARB Part 2 course. I would like to become a registered architect in the UK, which means that I need to work in the UK for at least 1 year after Part 2 before I carry on Part 3. Are there any established relationships between the uni and architecture practices? And when you need to contact the school, a lot of the academics in the schools will have employer contacts that will come in and give talks. They would have a better understanding of this specific area. As I said, this is getting very, very specific. So we're looking at general questions today. These specific questions, if you contact the admissions team, they can put you in touch with an academic who may be able to advise you on this. The companies, also look online to see what companies architecture graduates have gone to. And the does usually in these kinds of profession tends to be a trend. So do a bit of research before you come along. I would like to know, are there companies in Manchester where graduates material science program can find a job, and if yes, do master students have an opportunity to have internships there during studies? Internships during studies on a 1-year master's is difficult. You only really have the Easter period. You can do an internship for a week or two during the Easter vacation. Again, it would depend on your academic commitments, but you have opportunities to do internships after you hand in your dissertation and before your visa runs out. There are companies across Manchester that hire students from various different programs. The good thing about the UK is if you study material science and want to be an accountant, that's possible. Your degree does not necessarily mean you have to go into that profession. So we're quite flexible in the UK in what you go on to do as a career, as long as you've gotten a good degree and a good mark in your studies. If you are interested in going down the road of material science, there are various companies across the UK that you can apply to. And again, through your school and various fairs and recruitment events, you will get access to these companies. How many hours a week can a PhD student work during their study in Manchester? Tier 4 visa, it's up to 20 hours a week part-time work without it affecting your visa. Any more than that, you will be violating the terms and conditions of your visa. So no more than 20 hours a week. In terms of the job fair, which would be held in March, will there only be opportunities for working in the UK? Would there be opportunities for working back in China? The China Fair is mainly for companies who are hiring back to China. So they're interested in hiring Chinese graduates from UK universities back to China. There will be a small number of Chinese or UK-based companies looking at hiring Chinese students into UK job roles, but the majority will be going back to China. What are the possible careers for a bioinformatics students? Broad question, Sirat. You could be a psychologist if you wanted to be. Your career and what you do with it is entirely up to you. And I know that sounds like a real kind of broad answer, but it is. I graduated as a nurse and I'm now an international career consultant. So what you graduate in doesn't necessarily have to dictate what your career is going to be. Neither does the first job that you do after graduation dictate what your career is going to be in. It's a learning process. It's a long-term project for the next 50 years. So during your time at the university, attend events, talk to consultants and understand, what do I like? What do I not like? And how can I best use these skills going forward? And what careers are a good match for me? We have a system on our website where if you don't know what you want to do or you want to understand which career is good for me, you can do that through our website, and it helps you to understand what is available to you based on your qualification. Will there be any career orientated service provided during orientation week? Orientation week, I will be there. So if you're coming along to orientation week, I will be delivering talks on the Saturday and Sunday. So you can come along and ask me questions face to face then. That's in September. So if you're coming along to orientation, I will be there. We won't help you to find an internship, Shota. What we will do is give you the skills that you need to understand how to find jobs, but we'll also point you in the right direction. If you do need advice or you're struggling, you can always come and talk to us and we can understand what it is you're looking to do and give you advice on the next steps. How to balance the intern and study? Do I have to absent in the class in order to take part? Shanju, you would probably, in terms of internships take place during holidays, so they don't take place during study time. So you'll be doing an internship during the Easter vacation, which is about 2 to 3 weeks, or during the summer vacation. So you would not, and I wouldn't advise you not going to class to do an internship. So you would find internships during the vacation period, so it doesn't interfere with your academic studies. Is age an issue? No, you do not have to declare your age in the UK to a company when you're applying because we have discrimination laws in place to safeguard people when they're applying. So you wouldn't declare your marital status, your gender, or your age. You would just give your skills and your details. So we do not have an age issue. Is a postgraduate student eligible for a tutor at Manchester? If you're on the PGT, you can apply to mentoring, and we can advise you. If you don't want to get a mentor through the Gold Mentoring Programme, we can advise you on how to find your own mentor in a sector that is of interest to yourself. My Tier 4 visa will expire in Jan 2017. My master course will end September 2016. Can I work internship? Yep, I answered that one. So you can do between your handing in your dissertation and your visa expiring, you can work full-time with no issues around your Tier 4 visa up until the day your visa expires, as long as it's on a fixed term contract. That means the employment contract has an end date. Does the UK offer opportunities for international students to work in medical laboratories when they are a graduate? There's laboratory work on offer. Again, you would have to target those companies, develop those skills, and attend events and conferences relevant to working in laboratories, and build an online profile that's effective and a CV that's effective. And we can help you do that, Jacqueline. Just looking through some of these, can the final dissertation be carried out with the companies? If you want to, yes, again, you would have to contact the companies if you want to base your dissertation on a company. Just reading through. If you're looking at doing an internship overseas, we have companies from overseas advertising on CareersLink for internships, including the Middle East. So if you're interested in doing an internship in Dubai, we can help you either through CareersLink to look at internship opportunities, but also how to develop connections with companies overseas, how to approach them, what the CV looks like, and how to ask for an internship. Okay. It's real. Right, so I'm scrolling down to see if there's any more questions. I think I've answered everything around. If you're wondering what a USP is, it's a unique selling point. So that would be your language ability, or your global knowledge, or if you have 2 years work experience in a sector, that's your unique selling point. It's skills that you can market to an employer. So I think that's it. That's all the questions I can see. I don't think I have any more questions that have come in. Can I work during? Okay. After I graduate from Manchester, am I a new entrant or experienced worker? If I already 31 years old, I want to change my Tier 4. Again, this is a visa question, so you would need to speak to an immigration lawyer to get advice on that. We do have a visa masterclass webinar on our website under events and webinars. that you can watch. It's delivered by an immigration lawyer, Nikki Dean, that we work with, and it answers a lot of the questions that we're getting today around visas. So if you want to go on there and have a look, what I would say, and I'll sign off now, what I would say is if you are looking to come to Manchester, just make the most of your time here. Internships happen during the holiday season. We give you plenty of skills and how-to advice to apply for these internships and work experience opportunities. They don't interfere with your academic studies because they're in the holiday time. There are plenty of events and societies and clubs that you can join, and we encourage you to do that. It all looks great on your CV. The more rounded a person you are, the more skills and things that you take part in, the more, I suppose the word I'm looking for is the more appealing you are to an employer. Employers do not just want people with good grades, they want people who have experienced life, who've taken part in events, activities and work. So the more that you can do before you arrive in September, that's going to look great on your CV. Brilliant. And then also take opportunities. The volunteering side of things does not have to be a continual weekly thing. It can be one-off events as well. So remember, just make the most of your time here. Get involved. We're here from the start. For those of you who have already accepted your offer and are coming in September, I'll meet you during your orientation at the Careers Talk. Please come along. I look forward to meeting you all there, and I will leave it there. Thank you everyone for attending, and have a great morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are.